Yo, what up? This is your boy Soulo. Now we're back again with another one. And this is going to be about, deciphering religious and scientific indoctrinations and how they can be very harmful to the world we live in. And, it's just creating biases. And, these things are dangerous because it's very vague, and it leads you into comfort zones in areas, in spiritual aspects, in areas that you know it it's what creates the physical reality. It's what shapes and creates and molds our world based on all these religions and indoctrinations and sciences, which is very, very limited. So as a spirit, your spirit is not corporeal. It's not physical. It's nothing, because when we see this physical reality, it's physical. You can touch it. It's hard. It's fleshy. You know, it's here. So the opposite of that is nothing, and that's what the spirit is. Your space. Everything is space and location. Shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man, Uriel. Everything is space and location, and everything manifesting in that space is a spirit, aka the space, trying to become aware, consciously aware, in how they, operate in their own way of coming into existence, and how we see it in reality. The insects, bugs, plant life, all the way to human, whatever. So when religious people get lost in, religious texts, like thinking God is outside of you and it's creating everything, that's complete lostness, and that's dangerous, because you're using your mind to justify that God created everything from, outside of God is outside of you, which is not outside of you. God is within us. It's synchronizing. It's flowing through everything at the same time everywhere. So the spirit is nothing. This is how God created itself. The spirit is no thing, is nothing. It has no shape or form. That spirit developed the mind. It's a conscious mind. It's the same way you dream. When you go to sleep, you have a dream, and you're floating in your dreams, whatever dream you're having, which is a nightmare or dream, whatever. That's how it is. That's your first existence before you become physical. Your dreams is not really your dreams. It's just you are floating in the spirit realm. That's the mechanism before it leads to being physical. So this is how the spirit is becoming aware and conscious. Remember, when you're having a dream, that's when that's how you are before you become physical. This physical shit ain't real. It's just an accumulation of everybody coming together, all the spirits aligning themselves and sharing the same space and location that we can all thrive, aka Earth. This is how we're resonating together. We're just sharing, spaces within spaces within spaces. And all of us together is what's shaping this reality from the dream realm, aka the spirit realm, which is just the spirit creating a mind where it can float and have these dreams, which is not dreams. These are our thoughts and feelings, aka masculine and feminine energies coming together and creating experiences. This is what the spirit likes to do. It likes to become aware. It likes to experience. It likes to jump into ideas, visions, and mentalities, imaginations, and create that existence for itself. Now, the first spirit did that already. the spirit, whatever you want to call it, God, it has already expanded, and and it has become what we're living on right now, Earth, the universe, whatever you want to call it. But it has already expanded. That spirit has already expanded, and we are within that spirit existing. Just like, you have blood cells inside of you and all these organisms coming together to work. You are it's like a, damn, I forgot that word. Can't believe I forgot that word. But you have your own solar system inside of you, the same way there's a solar system outside of you, inside of you, outside of you, as within, so without. So our spirit is having the same mechanisms as it's playing without, just on a smaller scale. So whatever you see outside of you it's within you. The sun and the moon is within you. That's the masculine and feminine energies. The spirit to have visions and internalize that vision and create that physical existence, however it is, in whatever density and fluidity that it can exist in. So the same way you see a sun up there is the same way you have a sun inside of you. You cannot, it's like a orb, a light, the same way you see it up there. But obviously you can't see it within you because you're operating outside of that. The spirits inside of you could see the light in the sun. Your blood cells, all these organisms and organs, creating your organs and shit like that. Those spirits can see the sun the same way we see the sun up there in this physical reality. So the physical reality within you is going to play out way different than the physical reality we're operating now. But it's all, intertwining and blending, and it's, part of the life we are existing in. So this is why it's important not to get indoctrinated, because you're teaching your spirits inside of you to be indoctrinated. And that leads into hell. That leads into purgatory and, years of incarnations and reincarnations of just living the same repetitive hell that you don't want to be in subconsciously. So how does hell look like? Hell can look like many things. Hell to somebody can be a heaven. Heaven to somebody can be a hell. But actual hell is repeating something. Your spirit repeating some type of experience that is getting tired of. And this is where all the mental health crises come and play. People getting tired of getting lost in their minds. Now, when we reincarnate back here, this is where we're gonna be experiencing the same life together in different ways. Everything is synchronized already. The same way you was born through your parents. You didn't know how it happened, right? But you was an idea. And and those two energies together come together to create what you are right now. So the masculine part will be the dad, the feminine will be the mom, and come together to create a new child. And that could either be masculine or feminine. Now, the masculine and feminine counterpart will be the mind, and the feminine will be the emotions. Externalize, internalize. So that's before it even becomes physical. Male and female. So remember the spiritual components of masculine and feminine before it becomes physical is the mentality, and the feminine is the emotions, the vibe, the soul, the internal, the darkness, where we can't see your emotions, the vibrations. So masculine would be the frequency, the visions, ideas, logic. The feminine would be the vibrations, the womb. Mothers have the womb. They give, they're moving wombs. They give birth. They nurture. They take care. You already know. You get the point. So let me explain this. The emotions is a feminine counterpart that internalize. When you internalize, it's going within, and it's giving birth to something new, to an experience. And this is how the spirit is utilizing these two masculine and feminine counterparts to externalize an idea, and then going into that, it's internalizing it, all about the feelings and emotions, and it creates that world. Whatever the idea was, it becomes, vibrations, frequency vibrations, and those vibrations become dense and fluids, waters, and that's how it becomes, this physical existence, vibrations, becoming hard, flesh, fluid, and blood, and stuff like that. So, we got people in this world getting lost in their minds, thinking that, people in the system know it all, and it's the end all be all, and these people in politics or systems, they know everything, and, it's just a bunch of retardation going on, because is a lot of bullshit going on in the world that can be fixed, which is not being fixed, and it can be fixed very easily. And it's like, why aren't they trying so hard to fix the problems of the world? They rather waste tax dollars on bullshit, spend so much trillions of dollars on war, and they're still not doing nothing about society and how easily it can be fixed, while they're putting it in your face that they're spending all this, wasting time and spending money on all this retarded shit, and people just allow it. And it's retarded. They allow. It's not just that people just got comfortable in what they internalized. Your masculine energy, whatever your idea was about how reality is, how your belief in truth looks like, you internalized that, and it became your experience, your world. That's how the spirit is working. That's how the spirit is doing things. You got lost in an idea, a bias, an indoctrination, and you internalized that. You felt that. It became part of who you are, your emotions. You vibrate towards that. You made it make sense. You made it part of your, fluids, your waters, your existence. And this is what everybody's lost in their comfort zone. People are indoctrinated, they're lost in their comfort zones. They think they know it, but they don't. At the same time, ignoring corruption, ignoring, what's right or wrong. They continue to eat McDonald's, they continue to eat Popeyes, all these disgusting food that's creating their world mentally and emotionally, and that's how they get stuck in that spiritual space. People that don't like to learn or help themselves succumb to their own, you know, in they made a heaven out of their hell. You know, this reality is supposed to be heaven, but people created their own circumstances and comfort zones based on how we came up in reality. Our parents didn't know any better. They were stuck in some type of, most people are stuck in religion and science, trying to make sense of reality. And they actually come up with their head that, like I said before, they convince themselves that people of higher power know it all, and that they're in the best interest. But actually, people are actually waking up. I guess some people. But majority of people convince themselves that it's impossible to know the truth. But how can that be possible? That's actually a possibility for yourself if you actually believe that, because that's what you came up with. That's your idea. You convinced yourself that it's impossible to know the truth, and that the truth can never be found, which is extremely false. Because the same way we are existing, we can understand why we are existing. So it's a spiritual aspect. You're not gonna understand this if you're trying to look outside of you, like in books, trying to read a book or whatever, and trying to look for answers, which is gonna be half truth and limited, extremely limited, and it's gonna end up being a belief or whatever. And that belief is what creates your world. But the thing is, you're not supposed to get lost in your mind, because you have to go within and understand these natural components that we all share. So we are part of nature. We are nature coming into existence. We are nature moving and creating our own circumstances. So you're supposed to learn about yourself. You're supposed to meditate, go within, and bring that higher power within you, because God has already expanded. So if God already expanded and we're living inside of God, then you also have the ability to know the waters, the knowledge that it has accumulated for itself. The same way you are evolving and expanding and learning as you go, God has already expanded, and it knows what it knows, and way beyond what you think. That motherfucker knows shit. That motherfucker knows so much. There's so much energy out there that even if someone like me hasn't tapped in, like, it's impossible to know. In this human vessel, it's impossible to take in to soak up all that shit. It's impossible. But you could also know, the simplicity of life. That's just knowing the beginning of it. Knowing the beginning of how it started. So all that. So to understand all that, to bring in the knowledge for yourself, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be in the spiritual space of letting the universe or God flow through you. And it all starts with the belief. I know I can. I know I can do it. I know I can feel it. So once you let yourself, be vulnerable and just let the universe flow through you, despite what other people think, because people are lost. They're gonna make you think you're delusional or crazy, but they're actually the ones that are delusional and crazy for limiting themselves, because you're supposed to evolve and expand. You're not supposed to be fixated in some type of program or indoctrinated, because it's not what animals are doing. Animals don't give a fuck about that shit. You can teach them things naturally, but not supposed to be synthetic, like, you know, all these limited beliefs and biases that control the world, and how it shapes human subconscious, how it shapes the subconscious human mind to just work to build the system and not learn, you know, crucial skills that can help develop humanity in the right, proper way. You know, it's just common sense that people don't have, and they just continue to feed the system, you know, getting lost in all these sciences, thinking, you know, why is people spending so much money on spaceships to go to space when it's not helping nobody on Earth? It's like people get lost in their narcissism and ego, and they just want to be smart when it comes to all these stupid ass beliefs and sciences. So people have to pay attention to, you know, the world, the Earth, and stop being so self-serving and, you know, dumb, because the world is not being fixed by your biases. They're not being fixed by your stupidity or your limited as awareness. So you have to wake up, because those type of people are part of the problem. If you're self-serving and you're not trying to expand out of your, you know, ego or narcissism, you're part of the problem. You're basically the corrupted, the children of the corrupted, in a spiritual way. It's like they gave birth to retarded spirits, and that's how they wanted it, so they can build their system. And, you know, you have to let the universe flow through you, and you have to, you know, imagine, you know, God is all possibilities. Shout out to Uriel, the Lord Pilot Man. Go search up his channel. You know, I learned a lot from him, and he's a very inspirational teacher. And yeah, you have to be spiritual. You have to try to know thyself. You have to keep believing in yourself, so you can bring that knowledge and wisdom to flow through you. And that takes time, that takes a journey, you know. And unfortunately, you know, at this point, I think it only takes trauma for people to wake up, because I never seen a happy motherfucker go on a spiritual journey, because that's their comfort zone. That's the vision, whatever that person did to have that idea and vision about that world. You know, they made their bed, they made their comfort zone. And, you know, the only way is for that spirit is to keep experiencing and grow out of comfort zones, which takes a lot of reincarnations and incarnations. But the thing is with me is, I also believe and I also know that in birth you can teach a kid how to know, you know, how to properly be guided in the right way, how to, you know, be nurturing, how to understand the metaphysical the right way. And, you know, that takes a healthy vessel, I believe, so that child can grow up and, you know, be on that path where it can, you know, be relatable towards the Great Spirit. And, you know, just know the mechanisms of how everything is flowing. So, I think I had another point, but that's pretty much it for the video, I guess. So, yeah, it just takes, you know, it might seem delusional, but it's not delusional. You know, you don't want to stay stuck here, reincarnated and working, going to school, you know, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just how we do it. Right now we're doing it in a synthetic way. It's not spiritual. It's not aligned with God. It's just aligned with your pockets. Nobody, humans are the only species that are divided, that's not working towards, helping the nature. It's not helping each other, it's not helping the world, it's not helping, community. Everybody's just divided in their own retarded apartments, working for the system. And that's synthetic. That has nothing to do with God. It doesn't matter how happy you are, with how much money you're making. You're using God to, you're using God for money. And, God is not money. God, all these things came from nature. And you cannot pluck from nature. You're supposed to, give back to nature. And how does that look like? Utilizing your mind in the right way, coming up with ideas and solutions, being creative, being intelligent, being spiritual, having, imaginative, creative ways of how to construct things, becoming more of a farmer, growing stuff, growing fruits and crops, and, just making things flourish, building new things with the mind. And it's just that simple. People made it super complicated. People get lost in their mind and over exaggerate shit. And it was just all simple from the beginning. People just gotta look within and manifest that truth within. Have belief in yourself and manifest that truth. There's no time being wasted. That's how going within is, eliminating all those biases and doing proper shadow work. And that's what humanity needs, is people to listen and, and do the right thing. Not for yourself, but for nature, for God. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Peace.